Welcome to This Commerce Life. We are an unscripted podcast dedicated to small businesses and entrepreneurs in the retail and consumer packaged goods space in Canada and the United States.
I am Phil Chang, co-host and co-founder.
And I'm Kenny Vanucci, co-host and co-founder of This Commerce Life.
Our love is the journey to retail, and our passion is sharing that with you every week.
Good morning.
Good morning, Phil. How you doing?
Well, and you, Randy?
Yes, I am. Hey, Ken, how you doing?
Not too bad, buddy. How are you? I just crawled out of bed, literally. Grabbed a power cord, plugged it in the wall, and signed on.
There we go.
There we go.
How you guys
Let's
doing?
go.
I'm doing well.
Good. You
in the office already?
Oh yeah, I was here by 6:20-ish, give or take.
So
Well,
hopefully
early
you're
on.
an East Coaster.
I don't know. I'm in Vancouver.
He's in Vancouver, buddy.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm in Delta,
Okay.
just
Okay.
across the bridge.
Yeah.
But yeah, I work on Vancouver. I work on Toronto time.
Okay.
Apparently. Yeah, I'm just crawling out of bed. He's been there for half an hour already.
Yeah. I mean, usually this is, because it's 10 a.m. for me, right? So usually by now I've woken Kenny up with about 1 million WhatsApp messages or
Yeah.
Google.
Oh yeah, I
How
got those
about
too.
Google
They're also on my
messages,
phone. I just haven't looked at them
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
How well
yeah.
TikTok's doing or something like that. you know?
Yeah. Hey, listen, we got 1,200 views yesterday. on
Yeah,
TikTok.
not bad.
Not bad.
Just learning how to use TikTok, Randy, all the latest and greatest things.
Well,
you have to learn.
I think we're
First thing in the
tuning
morning.
to the audience is technically what we're doing, right? We
Yeah.
kind of know how to use it. You just
You
point and
kind of know
shoot,
how to
but-
use it.
yeah, but it's like now what do they want to see? And then because we're a podcast, it's more like what makes them go and click on the audio, right?
Right.
Because the short is interesting, but if they don't go listen, like our bread and butter is downloads, right? So go download.
I watch them, but I don't post anything on TikTok.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. It's like every other social network, right? Like you post and they collect content and they figure out it's just feeding the robot, right? So
Well, it's
Yeah.
part of it, right? It's just trying to, it's trying to get eyeballs and trying to figure out where the hell to go with it, right?
yeah,
Oh, true.
yeah,
I hear you.
yeah. Yeah.
It is what it is. It's part of the world these days. No,
Yeah. Randy,
Like it or not.
it's nice to meet you.
You as well, my friend.
Yeah, we're glad to get you on the program.
yeah, I'm glad you came on. I'm glad you
Yeah.
decided to do it. I didn't know if you would or wouldn't, because I think your story is interesting as well. Just because I love you've listened to a podcast or two, so you know what we kind of like. We do like the family stories and the family run businesses and how they get passed and how things play out that way. And plus, I
Mhm.
love the space. I like our industry.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, the industry's it's changed a lot since I was a kid. Like I've seen the the changes over the years, and yeah, being in a family business, it's got its ups and downs, and it goes sideways sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what's going to be kind of fun. I'll introduce you in half a shake here, but I think that's what will be fun. So for you today, that's pretty much what I'm hoping that we get out of you. I would just like to hear, how it started, why it started, how and why you get involved, and how and why you continue to want to be in this space and this crazy part and this crazy industry of ours. So Phil, I'm going to right into it.
Yeah,
let's do it.
I'm
Let's
whatever
do
you
it.
guys
So
are.
Let's do
today we have Randy Sihota on from Nationwide Foods. Randy's a natural health or natural food distributor located in the Lower Mainland, Vancouver, Delta, actually. I've known Randy for, I'm thinking it's got to be getting probably close to 20 years, something like
Right.
that, 15, 20
Yeah.
years.
Wow, you known
Um,
this guy for 20 years? You're this cheerful. Got it.
It's almost 20 years.
Good man.
Wow.
I'm
really,
sorry.
Phil?
Did I interrupt your intro? Please
Well,
continue.
it's just like 7 o'clock in the morning. I just woke up for you. Hey, be nice. Randy and I have done some business in the past, but and Sasha continued doing business now. But I thought it would be interesting because I think I love the family stories. I love how these things get moved through and moved on. So for you, the next 45 minutes to an hour is really whatever you want to talk about. But I like more the story of where it came from, why it came from, And then, if there's questions come up, as long as you're okay, no trade secrets. You don't have to tell the world what, anything that you don't want to say. But otherwise, it's just a casual conversation. Three guys just want to see what's going on in Randy's world these days.
Oh, for sure. So I appreciate it. Thanks, Ken. Thanks, Phil, for having me on.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, Nationwide Natural Foods is a family-based business. If I really go back to when it first started out in 1984. And if I go beyond that, I'll go to 1976, 77, which is the Livestream Natural Foods days. That's where really all began for our family. My uncle was a shipper and receiver in that company. My dad was a janitor. So I'm a son of a janitor. I can probably say that, because that's exactly what I was. And then in the 70s, 77, we had an opportunity where my uncle and my dad could have bought a McDonald's for $250K, roughly, give or take, or be partners in Livestream Natural Foods. So
they chose that.
This is like going back to the granola days, right?
Wow.
So Mr. Aaron Stevens, the Stevens, who now have Nature's Path, and they've grown their business. During that time, we were partners, and then fast forward to 81, they decided to expand into Eastern Canada. So Ontario came up in in Markham. There was an opportunity for our family to expand out there. My dad decided to stay behind. My uncle went out and took his family, uprooted, when 1981 went to, they called it Livestream number 2, which later on became Life Source Natural Foods. And then we were presented an opportunity where, hey, what Aaron was thinking, I don't want to take care of the eastern provinces or the East Coast. Hey, why don't you guys take over? Make me an offer for the company, and then we'll give you a payment plan. I believe it was a 5-year plan. We paid it off in 3. So then, fast forward, 87 rolled around, and Mr. Aaron Stevens he had Nature's Path going, and he had Nationwide as his distributor. So he called up my uncle and goes, hey, you know what? I want to get out of the distribution game. What do you guys want to? You guys want to buy my company? Let me know. What do you guys think? So sure enough, my dad and my uncle went in there. My dad wanted to be low key. He's like, hey, don't tell anybody we're buying this. Just bring me in as some jobber. Like, I work in the warehouse. I want to see how things are ran, how things go. So sometime October 87, I got wind of it. Being 13 years old, I'm all pumped. I throw on a pair of jeans, a dress shirt, a tie. I walk out of the room, smack. I'm like, shocked. I'm in tears. But Dad's like, hey, go take that shit off. Stories. And I'm like, what? He goes, you're not going to sit in no chair. I'm like, I'm like in tears. My uncle's trying to console me. My mom's like, hey, just go change your clothes. I'm like, all right. So I threw on some, old clothes. It's a Saturday morning. I'm in the warehouse. I walk in. I'm about to sit down on a chair. He's like, come here. Takes me downstairs. Gives me a broom. He's like, go sweep.
Well, just start, baby. Start from the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
That's it, man.
Didn't
you
know that.
Learn it.
All right. That's exactly what happened. So,
Jeez.
there I am with a bunch of adults, grown men, and I'm pushing their broom, and they're looking at me like, who the hell's this kid? Right? My uncle just like, hey, go, clean these bottles. I'm just basically doing grunt work the whole time, swearing under my breath. Why am I here? I couldn't, my friend, I had no real social calendar at 13 years old, so I was like, basically, okay, I'm here. Did what I had to do. So every weekend, up until I think December, every, pro D day, they called it. I'm with my dad in the morning from 6 o'clock till like 5, 7 o'clock at night. And he'd be, watching what's going on in the warehouse, watch the guys, how they're working. And then one day when finally, it came time to, announce that, hey, what, we're making changes. All the warehouse guys are like, well, who are you? My dad, but that's like, well, I'm one of the owners, and I've been watching you guys for the last 3 months to see what I need to fix around here. And he goes, yeah, you guys have paid lunches. That's great. But when you guys take over more than your lunch is only half an hour and you're taking an hour, you're cheating the company. That's not right. Then you guys leave around 3 o'clock, but you're writing down 3:30. That's not right. You say you come at 7 o'clock, but you come at 7:30, right? He goes, this has got to change. He goes, the guys are like, one of the foremans or lead hands like, well, if we all walk off the job, what are you going to do? And me being 13, I'm like shitting bricks. And my dad's like, I got him. Points right at me. And I'm just like, what am I going to do? He's like, you can read? I'm like, yeah. Would you go to school? I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, go here, take this pick slip and go pick the order. Walk around the restaurant and find the stuff. So guess what? I got promoted to an order picker. There I am on the weekend at like 7 o'clock at night going, what the F? Right? So started doing order picking, did that every summer, every Pro D day, roll around to, I think it was grade 9 or 10. I'm sitting in the warehouse one day, and this store now shut down. It's called VF Foods. It was in Gibson's. Carl walks in. He's come every week, pick up his stuff in his van, one of those Volkswagen vans.
Yeah.
Every week he was there like on a Monday. Whenever I would see him, I'd be like, hey, Carl, how are you? Shoot the shit down at the loading dock. So one day I'm sitting there and I see this guy buying like, 5-6 cases of Santa Cruz apple juice. I'm like, when it used to be a 3.79 liter, it was 4 to a case. And I'm like, hey, why do you buy 5-6 cases every week? Why don't you just buy a pallet and I'll just keep it here somewhere in the rack for you, and you just come back and every week I'll just draw from it and you can get it at sale. Like, look, it's so and so price. I forget the price now. While I'm sitting there jiving with him about the sale, trying to make a trying to upsell, I turn around, my dad's there. I froze. I thought I was gonna get smacked. Right? So I'm frozen. And he's like, what'd you do? I'm like, oh, I just sold Carl.
Oh crap.
Sorry,
I'm sorry. I'm
this
sorry.
could go sideways.
I go, I just sold a pallet of apple juice. Was that not, is that okay? Like, and he's like, well, where are you gonna put them? I'm like, well, there's a spot right there. I'll just leave it there. I'll leave it at VF Foods. Looks at me, walks away, goes upstairs, chews out the whole office staff, right? Or the whole inside sales team. So there's me going on my lunch break. I walk in the lunchroom, say hi to everybody, like, because I was in the morning. Like, everyone's just kind of quiet. And I'm like looking around going, what happened? Like, somebody die or what's going on around here, right? So finally, G walks over. She works at Save On, but she comes over to me. She goes, what did you say downstairs? I'm like, oh, I was talking to Carl, and I sold apple juice. And I was like, yeah, you put it up in the rack. She's like, oh, that's what you did. I'm like, yeah. I go, then I turned around, my dad's there. I froze, and I'm like, is that okay? Like, and she goes, and she's like, it'd been nice if you had asked us to do that, because that's our job. I'm like, look, hey, I'm just helping you guys out. I don't really care. I just thought of it because he comes every week for 5-6 cases. So I just thought, you know what? Why not just pick and hold? I don't see the difference. I'm not busy. I was like, right. It's crazy. Just one skid right there labeled, everybody can do it. So that happened. And my dad's like, so as we were doing, the people were coming in, we started doing a little bit of pick and hold, selling skids, a little drum rolling. Then I was going to Newton Junior out in Surrey. I was going to get grade 10. I go to my dad, hey, there's no computers. My dad's like, well, you got to get computers. That's going to be the future, getting computers. I'm like, yeah, what does this guy know? Sure enough, fast forward, that's where we are now, right? But at that time, just me being cocky, the way I was, I'm like, well, there's no computers in Surrey, so I can't go to Newton Junior. Where we can go? He goes, talk to your cousin in Richmond. We have our warehouse in Richmond. You come in the morning with me, and then you can walk to school. It's pretty close by where Canby was. So I'm like, okay, cool. Sounds like a plan. And I was pumped because now I'm with my cousin, right? We're both the same grade,
kind of fun,
same
right?
age. Hey, I know half his friends. I'm always there every weekend, so why not? So fast forward. So basically, I joined into Canby. I was going into grade 10. So in the mornings at 6 o'clock, I go with my dad, do my homework till about 8:30. Then I go to school, come back. If I had no homework, I go pick orders, or I'd sweep or do something, answer phones, sit at the reception desk, and just do my thing.
Right.
Then December rolls around. We're moving from Richmond to Anasis. We've now merged with another company. And I'm looking at my dad going, how am I going to get to school? Well, that's your problem. That's not mine. I'm just like, oh my God. Right? So there I am looking at the bus schedule.
I love old school
how
dads.
to get to school.
Oh my God.
And how to get home. So basically, I would leave the house around 6 in the morning, 5:30, get to Canby for whatever time I get there. Then catch the bus going home. I won't get up like 6, 7 o'clock at night. And it was brutal. I'm just looking at my parents going, and then, every long weekend, guess where I am again? Back at Nationwide, right? Picking orders, or cleaning up, putting stock away, whatever I need to be done, I was doing it. Then that happened to me. Then I was taking the bus. Obviously, my grades were not going anywhere. They're pretty shitty, to be honest with you. But fortunately, and then just kept working at Nationwide. Then and one day I was sitting at work, a container of Vitasoy came in, and it's all on the ground. So my dad goes to me, said a couple of things. I'm like, okay, I'm going home. He's like, well, then you're fired. I don't want you in my company. Okay, great. See you later. As I'm walking out the door, a container of Vitasoy rolls in. He's like, hey, come back. I'm sorry for what I said to you. I need you. It was like 4:00 in the afternoon. And I'm looking at him, I got my, busting ready to go home from Anasis. I'm like, okay, put my head down, walked in, de-stuffed the whole container, palletized, 22 pallets of Vitasoy. Great workout. I was in great shape, right? So it was good, unlike today. So imagine getting fired and hired in the same day. Did happen once. That happened at least 6-7 times a month. So I just walk off. Yeah, I just walk off the job. Okay, I'm out of here. You know what? Going home. He'd come home in a huff and a puff. Next morning, I'm getting up. Just, you got that clock in your head, 6 a day. And he's like, okay, look, yeah, I'm sorry. He wouldn't say sorry, but look, whatever I said, just come to work. You need money. I'm like, yeah, well, everyone needs money. So I'll just come to work. So I'll go back again. Grade 11, same routine. Grade 12, he's like, I'm like, hey, I want, I can drive down and get a car. So we're sitting there. I'm like, yeah, I want to get a 93 Civic. And he's like, no, I'm going to get you a Grand. I'm going to get you a Transit. I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want that kind of car. My cousin's got that. I want this. And he's like, why do you want a Japanese car? Like, they're so small and tiny, and he didn't understand it. I just like it because I want to put a system in it, right? Exactly. That was the main reason. And lower it, do it up the way I want to do it up. So sure enough, we're at the dealership. I'm looking at a 91 Honda Civic. And he's like, no, we're buying brand new. I'm like, yeah, but this is what I want. He goes, I don't care what you want. I'll tell you what I'm going to get because I'm paying for it. So basically got me my Civic. And then, fast forward to another year, I'm basically not doing much. I'm hanging out with my buddies, floating around, really sitting at Quallen College, holding my pencil, no paper, pen, watching these videos of sales and marketing. I'm like, I can do this. I don't need to be going to school for this. I've already done this at Nationwide. Like, why am I twiddling my thumbs, wasting my time? So I'm like, my uncle's like, okay, you know what? You want to do sales? Okay, 7 o'clock in the morning, be ready to go. I'll take you and we'll go to Choices and, we'll go to Cake. It was called Capers back then.
Capers at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And this is going to like 1992, 93 era. Well, buddy calls me up the day before around 10 o'clock. He's like, hey, I go to the States to pick up my brother. You want to come with me? I'm like, yeah, let's go. So we go down to the States, pick him up from Seattle, drive him back at like 2, 3 in the morning, coming across the border. I got to be up at 7, didn't go home. I'm crashing my buddy's house, right? Next thing you know, my uncle's like up and ready. He's calling me, like paging me, like, hey, where is this kid? Right? I've got to take him home. My grandpa's like, I told you, he's useless. He's not going to do anything. I don't know why you're investing your time in this kid, right? Oh. And my uncle's like, he's a kid. Like, okay, so he went out. Like I told him, and then I came home, staggered home. He's like, just the look that he had on his face. I was like, okay, I really disappointed him, right? He's like, Randy, I told you to be home for 7. You'll be up by 7. We're going to go do this. I'll take you to these stores. I have to change the whole day and redo the appointments. I'm like, I'm sorry. I just had something I had to take care of. And he's like, this is your lifeline. This is what you're going to do for a living. How can you say that that was more important than this? And I was just like, well, I don't know. Just, being 17, I was like, that's just me. Right. So that happened. And I started doing sales with, we went. And I was like, okay, how can I make myself different than the rest of these sales reps, right? Because I was watching what they were doing, where they just walk the shelf and take a look. And sometimes you can't tell what's on the shelf because it's all cluttered.
Right.
So I was like, you know what, screw this. I'm just going to start facing their shelves. And if I get in trouble, I get in trouble. So there I'm in Choices Market on the ground, on my knees, and I'm just lining everything up, facing it all up with, checking the dates. Okay, put the old stuff in the front, new stuff in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And first, I was running the suit and tie thing. I'm like, I can't dress like this. This is too, I'm not stiff. I'm like, I got to change this. So I started going in shorts and a t-shirt. When it's hot, shorts and a t-shirt. When it was, a little bit colder, slacks or jeans and a t-shirt.
Right.
Just jeans. That was my thing. It had to be a t-shirt. Could not be a dress shirt, collar shirt. Can't do it. So I'm in there and Wayne Lockhart walks by. Didn't say anything. He's like, hey, Randy, I'm like, hi. And then Wayne's wife walks by and I forgot her name. I'm really sorry. She's like, what are you doing? She didn't know who I was. I'm like, oh, I'm from Nationwide. I'm just here to clean up the shelves and I'm going to face them up and then I'll write the order. She goes, you work at Nationwide? I'm like, yeah. She goes, but you're dressed so casual. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get dirty. So what's the point of me dressing up and I'm just doing my job? She's like, it makes sense. Okay. Now I know who you are. I get it. So I see what you're doing. So I faced everything up, went and wrote the order. Either I saw when Steve was around, I go to him or Richard.
Right.
Mike Evans, Mike Dawes, any one of those guys, look at there. And then, any deals that we had, I'd be like, okay, hey, Wayne, look, we're doing a truckload deal of Vitasoy. What do you think? He's like, I got no room. I'm like, hey, no problem. I got room. Let's make the deal. I'll keep it in my rack. When you're ready, I bring it out to you. And he just looked at me like, huh.
That's
Never thought
interesting.
of that, right? Like the whole pick and hold thing. I'm like, oh, don't worry.
And you're thinking, wow, I did this at 13 and at 19, it still works. This is awesome, right?
And you guys still haven't figured it out.
Right? Hey. So that's why I tried then just like certain brands, that's what I was doing. I sell the load and I'm like, okay, I'll bring it in as you need. Right. And my dad's like, what are you doing? Like, I can't sit there and send you. I'm like, look, either we do this or somebody else is going to do it.
Right.
Right. And back then it was us, Horizon, Wild West.
Yeah.
Pure Source is slowly coming in, but that was really and
There wasn't many of them at all, right? It was a small industry.
No, there wasn't.
What year is this, Randy?
We're going about 1993 to 93.
Yeah, I mean, it's still really in its infancy in many respects, right? It's really a small industry.
Yeah. So, and then basically by then I had a girlfriend, so who's not my wife, of course. But so my weekends, in the evening, I'd be working into the day. Come evening time, I'd be with her. Parents have no clue because in the Indian culture, it's like it was forbidden back then. It's taboo. It can't be dating, right?
You don't.
Or at least not dating someone they don't know.
Married.
Sorry,
right? So you don't date until you're ready to get married, and then
that's right.
Just like
it also should be someone they picked, not you picked.
That's right. That's all it was. It's all prearranged kind of thing, right? They're big taboo. So no one knew. Everyone's like, my dad's like, well, people are going, I be coming like 2, 3 in the morning, going to movies, going for dinner, whatever. My grandma would be up, my grandfather would be up at 3 in the morning because they're going to go pray and then they're going to the temple. There's me rolling up with a smile, just chilling. They're looking at me. They're going to my dad like, we think he's on drugs. We think he's drinking. We want to check up on him. He's going down the wrong path. And I'm just like, no, I can't tell you guys right now what I'm really doing because just not. You're not going to understand, right? And if I do say it, who knows, might mirror me off at 17 or 18. I'm not having that, right? So then basically my relationship with my dad got we went kind of south. We didn't talk for almost a month, 2 months, 3 months, and I was not living at home anymore. And I was like 19 at the time. And then obviously my father-in-law starts looking for my wife to find a boy for her. And I'm like, hey, what are you doing? What about me? She goes, I can't marry you. I'm like, what do you mean? I got a place. She goes, yeah, you live on your own. You don't live at home. Yeah, you got a job. Your job, you're bouncing from job. You're not working nationwide anymore. You're bouncing from job to job. You're cleaning towards at Riverview Hospital. Yes, I was a janitor for a bit. She goes, you're working at a superstore. You barely go to work. You're always saying you're injured or something. You're too, I'm like, holy cow. I'm like, okay, what do I do? She goes, go. She's like, go home, right? She goes, go home, and then maybe we can.
Really?
I can see if you're worth it. I was like, holy shit, okay, fine. Wow. So all my pride, call my dad.
So you obviously really loved this girl at the time. So you're going back.
Oh yeah. Call my mom, like, hey, mom, is there a chance I can come home? She's like, don't talk to me, talk to your dad. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. So I'm like, I come over and I'm like, hey, I'll change, and but I'm gonna have a social calendar where I hang out with my friends on the weekends. You got to accept it. Times are changing. I go look at the twins; they have their friends over all the time, and I wasn't allowed, right? My brothers, and he's like, didn't say anything. Kind of like, okay, let's see, right? So there I am. Basically March of 1995. I finally told my grandparents actually first, who kind of raised me. I went to Merritt. I'm like, hey, grandma, can I talk to you guys for a sec? And my grandma's like, in the dish, watch the dish. She comes out.
He's like, oh no, what is happening?
So I go to them. I go, look, I want to marry this girl. So I show these photos of her. They're all black and white. And I'm like, what do you guys think? And they're like, she's really pretty. That's really cool. Like, that's really nice. And my grandpa's like, okay, tell your dad. No, I go, I can't. He goes, tell him you want to get married, and if he doesn't do your marriage for you, I will. Right? He goes, if that's what you want, this is what we'll do for you.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
All right, cool. So I got the kind of confidence. Okay, so I'm back home. Told my dad. Dad's like, okay, got all happy. Like, wow, something goes actually interested in this guy because different.
We get rid of him legit.
Thank God.
Yeah. At that same time, Sue's dad comes over to our house, knocks on the front door. My mom answers. She's shell shocked because she doesn't know. And my father was like, oh yeah, I understand my daughter and your son they went to school together at in high school, and she likes them. Is there any chance we can have a meeting and discuss about them getting married? He doesn't know that we're already dating, right? That we were together. He had no clue. And then we never told him that properly either until later on, of course, right? He kind of figured out afterwards, but at the time I had no idea. And so mom's like, okay, you know, my husband's not home right now. I'll come back, you know, tomorrow, whatever. We'll set up a time. I come home. Mom's like, hey, I gotta talk to you. I'm like, yeah, okay, what's up? She goes, yeah, so this girl's dad came over. I'm like, yeah,
There's always something,
right?
damn it.
She's like, why do you want to get married so young? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, what's a big deal? Like, you guys got married young. Why can't I? Like, I've already been with her for 3 years. I don't see, you know, her dad's looking. And she's like, she pregnant? Is that why you're marrying her? I'm like, no. I'm like, listen, that hasn't happened. I'm not doing that, right? Because you never know. Right? I go, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to ruin the family name. Like, that's not happening. I was like, okay. Good to know, right? Because she was actually freaked out. She thought she'd be a grandma. And like, you know, what, before 50. Right?
Relax.
So she ain't having that. Right. So, you know, once we got married, I was 20 and I got, you know, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, hey, my dad was 20 when he came to Canada and he didn't know a lick of English. You know, I've worked at Nationwide for so many years. I understand the business, the distribution side of the business, right? You know what? And then at that time, Kitsilano Natural Foods was shutting down and went into bankruptcy. And I was like, hey, Dad, I want a store, right? And he's like, huh? I'm like, yeah, you know what? You got your own business. I'm on my own business. I can do it. I have Sue with me. You know, we'll do what we gotta do. He's like, okay, go gung ho. We announced that we're buying, you know, I'm buying a store. From there, what happened was basically backlash. Basically, certain stores in Vancouver were like, hey, if Randy opens his own store, you know, rather than doing that, let's have him come work for us and we'll build them into our company and then we'll partner up between Nationwide and XYZ here.
Right.
And let's have a go at it.
And we'll be right back. Hey, Kenny, I wanted to thank you for the listing a couple of months ago. I just wanted to catch up with you. I was wondering if you could tell me what stores carry the product now and where it's planogrammed. I just wanted to get an idea of how things are going.
Have you not been into the stores, Phil? Your product came in, it's left the building, and you're planogrammed in AB stores.
So I've been in some of the stores. It's a little spotty. It's hard to tell. I've been. Can you also can you explain the AB stores?
Seriously, Phil? Like, you're on the clock right now, man. I mean, you're making me stop. So I'm going to take a look at your sales numbers, which on first glance, just so you know, we're not going to have a conversation in 4 months if you don't get these sales moving. Your product is not doing much of anything. I really suggest you get out into those stores and figure out what's going on. This conversation, guys, is a conversation that happens more often than not. I mean, it's make believe it is because Phil and I are doing it together. This is conversations that actually happen out in the real world. You know, so if you're listing or if you're getting a brand to launch in retail, new product, and you've got your listing and you've made it into the planogram, if you think your job is done, you're delusional. Your job is not even close to being done. You got to get out there. You got to make sure your products are moving and they got to get moving quickly. Right. And you can't come back with the excuse that you're a one man or a one woman team or a 2-person team and the country's large or the city's large. You have to figure this out. Clock is ticking.
So if this is you and you're worried about your launches, you're going to need Field Agent and their new products. So Field Agent has a service, brand new service called 360 Innovation Booster, which is created to help you get an immediate read on what's happening with your launch at retail. It's designed to help you kickstart sales in store and online and help you get initial feedback from real Canadian consumers who have tried your product.
You know, you're going to get visibility of a representative sampling of about 400 stores across the country of Canada within the first 2 weeks of delivery date. So super timely, super critical. You'll get planogram views of the new product placement in the sections they're supposed to be in, but you'll also get photos and documentation of post displays, secondary displays, end caps, freestanding displays, pallets, half pallets, quarter pallets, sidewinders, whatever you got. And what they'll also do is give you retail pricing. So you'll have some comparisons. Are you too high? Are you too low? Do you look silly? Do you not? Are you too aggressive? Some really key information for products to make sure they're moving.
So they give you a whole suite of tools that help you also get early trial and consumer feedback. A lot of new products, you have to wait. You have to wait for consumer feedback. And sometimes when you've got a buyer who's ticking the clock and watching your sales, that early trial stuff is really, really important. There's also a comprehensive view on how new product launches are going across key retailers, so you can have the right retail conversations with the right buyers. And they also have a buy and try sampling service that targets ideal consumer feedback to generate trial and awareness along with consumer feedback. If this interests you, head to fieldagentcanada.com/360, or you can email client@ca.fieldagent.net, or both the email and the link will be in our show notes below.
Unfortunately, my dad, I'm like, okay, Dad, you know what? Let's not do this. If we get blacklisted, I don't want to do that. I don't want to ruin Nationwide. Let's not. He goes, hey, I took a stand. I'm out of my word. I'm doing it. I'm like, but I don't want you to. He's like, no, I'm doing it. I'm like, okay. So basically,
Oh no.
March of '95, I got maybe $10 in my account. I walk into an empty store that's got old stuff in there, but basically we brought in product, started working with certain distributors. Some of them kept me COD because they were scared that I'm going to try to take their pricing and give it to Nationwide. Or others like, hey, Randy, this is great. You know what? It's good to see, the stores open again.
Yeah.
What are you going to call yourself? First, we were going to call it Kids Wholesome Foods. Unfortunately, the trustees like, no, you can't use that name because it's still associated with Kitsilano. Unless you want to buy it from us, we want XYZ in amount. I'm like, no. So then I'm in Merritt at my cousin's house, racking my brain, going, hey, man, I don't call my store. And then my cousin, may he rest in peace, he passed away just a couple of years ago. He's like, you got neighbor, you're in our neighborhood. I'm like, yeah. He goes, how about Neighbors Natural Foods? I'm like, how about Natural Neighbors Food Store? He goes, yeah, let's do that. Natural Neighbors. Well, yeah, it's a good idea. So we sat there a month. I was like, yeah, that's not bad. So I came back, went to my store manager. I'm like, I'm going to call it Natural Neighbors Food Store. He's like, why? I'm like, because we're around neighbors naturally.
Yeah.
Right? It's in a neighborhood. I'm selling natural foods. Just it's got that kind of like that homey name to it, right? Like,
yeah.
Right.
And he's like, and Michael Collins is like, okay, that's what you want to call it? Call it that. So I got the logo made up, got everything done. And then basically what I learned was distribution, you can work 9 to 5. Because buyers only there till 5 o'clock, maybe max.
Right.
Right. And then they shut down. But the retailer's still there because you got customers coming in. It's a different environment.
It's a whole different
You're
world.
there like 6 in the morning, got to prep your produce.
Hey, Kenny, you know something about this right now, right?
Yeah. You guys understand it, right? It's a whole different beast.
Yeah.
So did that for 3 years till 98. I was crying half the time. I was liquor out of my chimney almost like every day, getting hammered. Wife's still with me through it all. Basically, she's funding my whole, I had no money. So she's funding me. She's paying the bills. Luckily, we're living at home at my parents' house. And then, of course, at some point, we were trying to move out as well because me and my dad weren't getting along now. Because I wasn't really buying some stuff from him. I was buying some stuff from other distributors. He didn't like that. But I'm like, look, I need the product. You don't have it. I got to get it. What do I do? Right? So we kept butting heads. I'm like, okay, I'm going to move out. Tried to do that angle. Didn't work. Grandparents got involved. Like, no, we don't want you guys leaving. Just wait, buy a house. Then you guys can move out when you guys are ready. So 98 rolls around. And finally, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to get out of the store. My lease up in March. I'm out of here. Fast forward, all this, we got short dated expired stock coming in, and the store's making money now. Like we're doing $5-6 grand a day just in expired stock. And people are running in. Like I had lineups at the door sometimes. And I'm like, okay, I want to leave. Like, let me go now. Like I gotta get out of this place. Like I've had enough.
This place is killing me.
Still truckloads of stuff coming out of Nationwide, just coming to my doorstep. Right? Just flogging it out, cash going back to my dad, pay off whatever we could pay off whatever debts I had,
Right.
pay off the landlord, try to run it smooth. When it was all said and done, once I got out of there, I think of April sometime in 98, I was $500,000 in debt.
Wow.
That's what I owed my dad, like $500,000. He's gonna, and my mom, I'll just look at those two going, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean good to you guys. He didn't say anything. I'm like, so can I come back to Nationwide? He's like, yeah, you can come back, but I have a sales manager now, so you got to go for an interview.
Oh,
I was like, what the fuck? Right?
See, honestly, Dad, really?
I didn't see that coming at all.
Oh my God.
So
well, at least he didn't say, listen, I kept that broom. You know, the one you had when you were 13?
At least you were okay
still
for
got your
sales.
name on it, right? So
you were okay for sales. He had,
Right? And then it's funny enough, like at that time, I was also offered a job with Sony Records. A guy came and goes, "Hey man, I like your style. You're gritty, like you're young,
Yeah.
you're into hip hop." I'm like, "Yeah, rap's my thing, right?" He's
Yeah.
like, "Well, we're looking for a sales rep to do this for us." I'm like, "Well, I'd be interested." So I'm looking at this job, looking at my dad, going, the loyalty factor came in. Like I lost this money, I got to pay it back somehow, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, "Call my sales manager, set up your interview, and whatever time that's going to be, make sure you're there." So I'm like, okay. Called him up. I'm like, oh, and then the name rang a bell, but I couldn't figure out who it was. So I show up and I'm like, I'm going to dress the way I always dress. I'm not going to wear a suit and tie. So I came with a tracksuit, straight up. Came to my meeting at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday in a tracksuit, sat down waiting. And he was like, I think 15, 20 minutes late, whatever. I didn't care. I sat there. My dad's watching from an angle from his desk. And I look, I'm like, oh, hey, it's you. I'm like, I didn't know you work here. He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, he's like, I'm your boss now. I'm like, okay, I guess so, sure. He's like, so he asked me all these questions, like, like, what do you see yourself in 5 years? What do you plan to do? I'm like, my plan is to grow the company, right? I don't know what to tell you. That's my plan. Like, what I've learned in retail, I'm going to bring to the wholesale department because there's certain things retailers are missing, and that's a service I'm going to provide. And he's like, well, what are you going to do? I'm like, well, I'm going to go to a retailer, talk to them, show new products at the same time, walk their shelves, see what they need, face their shelves, fill in the holes, whether take inventory. If they order from me, great. If they don't, I did a service. He's like, okay, and when can you start? I'm like, I can start Monday. I got nothing going on. I got no job. I got a debt to pay. He's like, okay. So he started Monday morning, went to all these stores, just made a route, started in Vancouver, was doing West Van, North Van, Horseshoe Bay area, and just started from basically Westong's Market. I think I sold him just one case of Spike seasoning to Glenn. And he's like testing me because I was going there every day, every week, once a week. And he's like, no, we don't need anything. But I would face their shelves, tell them what they're missing. Like, you can order from me, order from Horizon or PSC or Tree of Life, because there wasn't many companies still then. And he's like, okay, thanks. Walk out the door. I did the same thing one day. I saw what they needed. He's like, hey, I'll get a case of Spike. I'm like, I'll have it here tomorrow for you. He's like, what? I'll have it here tomorrow for you. It was like, so I personally went, picked up myself because I knew what stuff was and never forgot how to pick an order. Picked it, put it in my car as I was going to go to North Van, West Van, detoured, dropped it off to his store, said, here's your order. I got Glenn to sign it, looked at me, I'm like, all right, man, take it easy. See you later. See you next week. Drove off, did my sales in North Van, West Van, came back next following Monday, walked around, said, okay. And then from there, started wheeling and dealing on like fruits and spritzers and juices. And, from 98 to 2000, was doing that. Then we ran some turmoils because of my stupidity. We had debts to pay that we couldn't pay. So the company was basically going down under.
Right.
Went through a transition phase. So all the uncle and aunts want their cash. We don't.
Wow.
My dad had to basically take money out of his houses to pay everybody back. And I was 20, so what was that, 2000? I was 25. And I'm like, okay, Dad, you know what? I know I effed up. Give me 5 years. Let me show you what I can do. I'll get really serious in the business. Give me 5 years. I'll stop floating around. I'll give you 5 years. I'll work whatever I got to do to build it back. So he came into Delta in 98, 2000, just got greedy and just started hustling. Thinking of ways I can, selling truckloads, but keeping it here. Doing pick and pack for customers, doing stores for people, whatever I could do to build the company back up.
Right.
And certain brands like we were like, Nature's Path. That was like my Nature's Path, Hain, and Smuckers were basically my 3 to-go brand, like my 3 go-to brands. And I was doing anything and everything I could, like driving from Vancouver to Alberta, doing sales out there, spend 2-3 days, come back, drive up there again 2 weeks later. And I loved it because I was seeing my grandma along the way. So every second Monday, I'm on the road, but I was like, well, this guy's going to Maryland, what the hell for? Or going to, Kamloops, going to like Alberta, what's he doing? I'm like, look, gotta go build a business up there. Gotta make it going. Like there's money, there's business out there. We can do it. Like there's money out there. I also want to stop in Merritt to see my grandma, right? So have breakfast with her, chill out for an hour, then go do my route.
Yeah.
And then on the way back, chill out again. If I can stay the night, I'll stay the night. Or I come back home, whatever, I can make it work.
Mm-hmm.
So through snow, and then finally, I think it was in, I want to say around 2002, 2003, around 11 o'clock at night, close to midnight, I was driving to Medicine Hat. This guy came into my lane and I turned my car. So my car went to a ditch, came sprouting out, did a 360 on Highway 1 and shot off to the side, went sideways, went back down again. And I got out all shaky. The guy that was in my lane saw me, came off the parked, saw I was okay, did a U-turn and took off. Didn't even ask me how I was. So I'm a little shell shocked. And then
so he just wanted to make sure he didn't kill you. That's how.
Yeah, right. And then another car pulled over, took me to Red Cliff, pulled the tow truck, went back, gave the guy $20 for his time. He's like, no, don't worry about it. And then basically my car got towed. I'm like, how am I gonna get back home? Did the Nutters trade show, shell shocked. Did the show, had to put up a front, right? Shaky and jittery.
But you did
all
it.
the way from Medicine Hat. My car got fixed. My Dodge Neon. From Medicine Hat all the way to Calgary. I talked to my wife just so I could, like, I was like, nervous and shit. She's like, what happened? I'm like, no, nothing's wrong. Talk, chill. It was just,
well, you stressed her out completely, right? Gee, come on.
Yeah.
And then the next day, it's 5 a.m, got up, booked it back to Merritt, hung with my grandma for a bit, and then booked it home. Came home to my wife, what happened? And she was like, why are you driving?
I'm gonna murder you.
Just stop.
Yeah, I'm gonna murder
somebody,
you.
hire somebody.
Stop it. Like,
yeah, like enough's enough, right? So,
yeah,
did that. And then the funny thing is my dad, like, I realize this now about my father, but he's not one to pump your tires. He's one to challenge you, right? So for me, I learned that now, and I kind of respect where he's coming from because I get it, right? But back, like, when I was in 2001, I was looking for a house and, going back and forth. He's like, you'll never buy a house in your life. And I'm in the warehouse downstairs and I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to show this guy I can buy something. So Sue's at home, like, yo, get up. She's like, what? I'm like, get up. We're buying a house today. I don't care. I'm going to put money down. Like, I'm not going to be chicken. If I'm buying something now, I'm not going to worry about it. How I make it work, I'm going to make it work. So I was looking at this place called Burberry Lane or Blueberry Lane. She's all like quiet. I'm like, I thought you liked this. She goes, I don't want to live in a townhouse. I want a house. I'm like, oh, okay. So what do you want? She goes, you're like,
can somebody just, like, why does everybody need to give me a hard time about everything? Like, I gotta drag everybody. Holy crap.
She's like, I don't pay strata fees and be on a, like, we got to put keep our house a certain way. She goes, I want my own little area. I'm like, okay, fine. So went to the Hamptons, and then I saw the one that we liked, half duplex, made a deal on it, went back and forth. I'm like, okay, working my numbers. Okay, if I don't go out this weekend, I save $200. If I don't go to the bar this day, I save $100. So I'm just taking my booze money as my rationale of how I'm going to save to pay for this house, to pay the mortgage, right? Because that was the big thing. And then, she would take care of everything else. So sure enough, did that, bought our house. 2002, had our first child. My dad's like, oh, you're not gonna make it in life. I'm just grinding away. I'm gonna show this guy what I can do. 2006 rolls around and I'm in the warehouse. He's like, so I'm just, doing basically everything and anything I can, like from calling customers to making the sale to the next day, asking to pay for their order when I come deliver or write me a post-dated check, whatever I could do to make it work for the retailer and for Nationwide, I was doing it. Right? Whether my dad liked it or not.
Yeah.
So 2006 rolls around, he goes, I'm going to India. This guy has not been to India for almost 20 years. I'm like, well, what do you mean? You're just going to up and leave? He goes, yeah. I'm like, but he goes, well, you can handle it. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, you got it. Don't worry, I'm out of here. I'm like, okay, see you later.
What?
So basically, for those, I think it was 1 month that he was gone, just grind it. Like, I'm going to show this guy what I can do. So, made about sales, slowly started building some more staff. 2008, Bernadette came on board, and she's almost like 16 years now. So, just grinding. So it's just me and her, right? I'd be in the warehouse, like picking orders or making deliveries, whatever we had to do to grind it to get to where we are today. Been at it, and there's been, my dad's still here. He's in the warehouse right now, just for 3-4 hours. The guy's 73 years old, but he can't stop. And I just learned to accept it.
Yeah.
That he needs to be here just for his own sanity. Kind of like me. Right? Same kind of thing. And then just like I look at it this way, like now, like nationwide, I've had opportunity where I got my own brand going now as well, which is West Canada Foods, which is organic gluten-free oats. I've started that. I've also done other ventures where I've actually now taken a step forward and, kind of diversified my portfolio. But nationwide is still my number one priority, right? And sometimes I was like, okay, Randy, build your brand. Like I'm like, yeah, but I got to take care of nationwide. These kinks I got to take care of first. Let me get rid of the, get those kinks fixed. Then definitely I can focus on what I want to do, right? Because without this, I got nothing. And that's
this
how I
fuels
feel.
it, right?
Yeah.
It fuels it.
Right. And even like, my customers, like people like, when I go to trade shows, I don't like leaving my booth. People are like, why don't you go walk around? I'm like, you know what? I go without these customers, and I'm not bullshitting. Without them, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Right.
Right. Sure. We have our moments where we butt heads, like any business.
Yeah.
But end of the day, you know what? I don't really consider them customers. I consider them some friends. Like, you guys help me out. If you need, if you're stuck in a bind, if I can help you in a way where I can extend your terms or give you some ideas, that's what I'm here for. Right? I want to see you grow. Because if you don't grow, I'm not going to grow.
That's exactly. It's not rocket science, right?
Right? Yeah. I need that stuff not on your shelf. I need it in someone's cupboard.
Right.
That's where I got to have it. Because if it ain't in that cupboard, you're not getting paid. I'm not getting paid.
Right.
Right? And that's something that I've, been in my head since I was like 15, 16 years old, that this product has to get into that cupboard and eat. Until then, you're not getting nothing. You can make the greatest product in the world, but if you're too high priced, no one's going to buy it.
Yeah.
Honestly, maybe once, but then, with the economy the way it is today, cash is not cash. Obviously, cash is king, but it's not there where it was.
No, it's different, right? It's a different world.
It's changing.
Yeah, it's changing fast too.
Very fast.
Yeah.
People don't want to shop like they used to. Like you look at the buggies, they're not like, I remember when, shopping day on a Saturday. Well, with my mom, it'd be like a buggy full of groceries. Now with my wife, like we go, the buggy's not full, but the bill's like what it was when I was a kid.
Exactly. Exactly. When it is full, the bill is huge.
Yep.
You're walking out of Costco or wherever you're going, or your local grocer, and you're spending a ton of money now.
Oh yeah.
I see a lot of cherry picking, right? Like people into the banner, buy the stuff on sale, and like really disciplined about it, right? Like where, the last 3 or 4 years, not so disciplined, right? You kind of buy the things on sale,
maybe
I saved a couple of bucks, so I'm going to go buy a couple of other things. And now I'm seeing, these 4 items are on sale. I'm done. I'm out. I'm going to go to the next one and get that on sale. That's it, right? Like it's, it's definitely different shopping behavior.
So Randy,
it's like
with your dad, is your dad still around in it? So your dad's there in the warehouse, but your dad's not. You fundamentally run the business, obviously, right?
Yeah.
I mean, your dad's there, and your dad does your dad.
Yeah, he does his own thing. Like he'll go downstairs, load the trucks, talk to the guys downstairs.
That's fine, but he's got something to do. But you're basically, in essence, running the business, obviously.
Exactly.
Okay.
All daily operations, try to do the growth, expand the business. That's all on my shoulders.
So and today, like, how many lines are you in essence representing or distributing?
We have over 3,000 SKUs.
Wow,
and growing.
That's a lot, eh?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's why I show nice and early so I can do what I need to do, and the rest of the day I take care of what needs to be taken care of. Right?
Are you still doing sort of the pay and pick, like the idea of buy the thing and we'll store it for you? Or is that, I'm assuming
if somebody asks for it,
change.
I'll do it. I just don't. We're kind of maxed out in space, so it's really
that's what I would imagine. And space in our city is not cheap.
No, exactly. But if somebody came to me and said, like, hey, Randy, I want to buy a skid, or I want to do a deal with you, like, hey, but I don't have the space. Can you hold it and I can just draw from it and bring
You'll figure it out
on a weekly basis? If I got space and if the deal's right, sure, I'll do it for you. Like, we own this warehouse, which is great. We're basically a debt-free company, to be honest with you.
Right.
I have no problem saying that. We have 3 units next door of extra space that we've leased out to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
We're building a brand new warehouse, which we bought land for already. Land's paid off. Now we're sitting at City Hall with Delta, just waiting to get approved on our plans. When it's all said and done, that building will be 60,000 square feet, which is 3 times the size that we are today.
That's a big space, Randy.
Yeah. but
Wow.
I've got a vision of what to do with it.
Holy shit.
Like in my head, like I know what Nationwide needs. I know what West Canada needs.
Right.
And then I know what else I can do with the space.
Right.
Make money to pay the mortgage or whatever I got to do to get it paid off quickly.
Right.
Plus this building.
So
I've
for
already got-
listeners, one thing is what you can't see that I can see in Randy is like the minute he starts talking, it's like a map unfurls and he's
Yeah.
looking at a map.
Well, you can see it, like his
So,
eyes are moving.
Yeah,
You're thinking,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
he's
yeah,
walking
yeah,
it, right?
Yeah, yeah. He's kind of gone to a different place at the moment. So, which is super
That's
cool,
really
right? It's
cool,
just,
but
you
so
know,
you got
for
a
the
vision,
listener,
right?
you can't see that. But the minute that at that moment when he said, I can see what the business needs, it was like he went, here's the roadmap.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
a road.
You know, let me
My road
let me
goes
get
like
out of the
this.
car and spread it
It's
out on
always
the
wavy.
hood.
Hey, roads aren't
and show you
necessarily
where it
straight.
goes, right? Yeah, yeah.
We're not on the prairies, man. We're in BC.
Yeah,
Roads are a
no,
little
it's
crooked.
Awesome. It's awesome.
This takes you
Yeah,
time.
And there's got a roller coaster.
It's all good,
roller
buddy.
coaster. The whole
That's
thing's
all
a roller
good.
coaster. Every day is like, oh, where am I
So
up?
do you
Am I
mind, Randy?
down? Yeah.
Just for a couple
Sorry?
minutes, like West Canada. Give me what's West Canada about?
So
Because
West
you got a
Canada
lot
is
of stuff going on.
basically
You got distribution already.
Yeah.
And now to do a brand
nationwide,
under
nationwide.
you
I
know.
mean, a lot of I think Norman's has it as well. I'm pretty sure it's in your store. I think Bob sold some stuff. If he hasn't, I'll talk to him. So West Canada Foods is basically organic gluten-free oats and
Yeah.
gluten-free conventional oats. And my oats are Canadian. They're not from anywhere else. They're less than 5 parts per million, where I know other people are using less than 20 parts per million and saying it's gluten-free. I just don't want to go that step because someone is celiac or really, can't have wheat. At least I know with my oats, there's no backlash. There's no
Right.
CFIA come to my doorstep and season my product, which is my biggest
Mhm.
fear because I've been through that. I've seen
Right.
what CFIA has done growing up.
Right.
Right. Do not want to go through the recall process. So I've
Right.
done everything in my power
Good
with
for you.
with my co-packer, where I'm getting my oats from. Everything is 100% CFA compliant.
Awesome.
Right from the farm. Like we can we have purity protocols, so we can trace the seed right from the farm to the lot code of what bag it goes into.
Wow.
So, peace of mind.
for
And
you.
my thing is, I want to make other products like have more gluten-free or organic products, but I want them at a price point where it can actually be in someone's cupboard. So it's really hard to get that because obviously with planograms, listing fees. Sometimes it's easier to start with the independents and build your
Yeah.
brand, then look at mainstream. Like our whole business is built on independence, right?
Yeah.
Not on mainstream grocery. Yes, you need mainstream to get your volume. I see that, but you can also do that with independents if you work with them the right way.
Mhm.
Right.
And that's kind of
Mhm.
how we've done that.
How are you finding that though now in today's world? Because like we all know, it seems like the day of the independent was definitely leaving us a couple, 3-4 years ago. And it's going to be the online and obviously all the consolidation and of retail. It seems that there is a feeling with consumers. I think they want to go back to a lot of independence. I think you're never going to get rid of big box or conventional mainstream grocery, obviously, and online will continue to be a large part and grow over time. We know
Yep.
that. But what do you see for the independent though? Because I as an independent, and my brands that I own and stuff are all independent focus as well, because I like that space. But to your point, you do need the conventional. I'm just finding the conventional is growing so fast, and there's so little retail. Like so, even independents are getting squeezed out. They're getting bought, I guess, or
Many of them are getting bought. But what I'm seeing is it's like the people that are born in the 70s, they're like myself, for instance.
right.
We miss that customer service aspect because we kind of remember that. Like you walk into a store, if you stood more than 10 seconds, somebody came up to you like out of the blue. They're like, "Oh, hey, how can I help you? What are you looking for?" You go into a store now, you could stand there for 10, 15.
Mhm.
Hell, somebody could walk by you that works there. They won't even talk to you.
Right.
They kind of ignore you, like you're non-existent, right?
Well, you're a problem, right? Because if you
Yeah,
stop,
like,
I have to
you're-
talk to you. You have to need some help, and what am I going to do? I got to stop doing what I'm doing, right?
Yeah, or I'm killing time, but now I have to actually do some actual work where I
Right.
walk
Yeah.
to somewhere to show you where the product is. I may not even know where it is, right?
Right.
We might not
Yeah.
even have it.
Yeah.
that's what's missing these days. And I think with the independents, you get that. Like, you can have that one-on-one relationship that like they get to know who you are. Like if you're a regular, they get to know, oh, you got kids or no kids, or
Right.
It's like they can vent to you and you can vent to them.
Right.
You get that personal touch,
Mhm.
right? It's like here, like you could call me any time of day, like from 6:30 to 10 o'clock, my phone's on, right?
Mhm.
And if they want to shoot the shit with me, hey, by all means, let's talk. Right? But if I can't, I'll tell you, look, I'll call you later and I will follow up and call back.
Mhm.
Right.
Right? Because everyone like COVID kind of screwed things up a little bit where the whole interaction, but with, but now we have like, you got Zoom, Teams, so you can talk to somebody online where you don't need to fly out anymore like you used to before. So that
Mhm.
kind of helped a little bit, like as
Mhm.
far as from a business point of view, but from a personal aspect, you lose that magic, you lose that touch.
I agree. I mean, like when you texted yesterday about doing this, reminding us, right, for the link, and you said you'd be on your phone. I'm thinking, well, shit, I like to actually see you. I mean, I like to, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the phone is great. In person is the best, but it's hard to do today. And the COVID, like you said, screwed up. But it is nice, because he's in Mississauga. I'm in East
Oh,
Van,
okay.
you're in Delta, so, but it's kind of cool that we can actually have a
Each
more
other,
personal,
yeah.
it's different than it used to be, right? It's at least it's better than not,
That's right. It's the
right?
new norm,
It's
right?
yeah,
It's the
I
new
guess
norm.
so. But I do like the in-person stuff too. Like I like when Bob comes into the store. Like I like
Oh
to
yeah,
see people. I like to chat. I like to see, what you're really thinking. You're saying
It's
you got
different.
something. Okay, what are you really doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's all
it's
the old
different.
school kind of
Yeah.
thing, right? It's the
no,
game, I
definitely.
guess.
Like when you're in a store and you're walking the shelf, there's so much more you can see than just calling somebody on the phone.
For sure.
Because you can they could be distracted, they could brush you off, might have to put you on hold for a while. Where we're in the store, yeah, okay, they got a customer, great, customer while you're doing what you're doing, and then you restart the conversation at some point, right?
It's you do miss, you're at store level, when you're face to face, the activation is just different, period. Right?
Totally.
You're right. Like you can be distracted, you can be on any of those things, but sometimes it's just what I say you don't get, right? Like if I'm not showing you, right? Like I can say it, what are you talking about? Like it's not what I'm thinking about. No, I need you with me, right? But the here and now, sometimes it really is an in-person thing, right? Like
I think it is.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
I think it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's where sort of where I was trying to get out of you too, because I'm trying to understand it as well. As I think that's where the independents can win. Where you do walk into someone's store. I mean, I do it if I'm not in the store a lot, but when I'm in the store, if I see somebody more than about a minute and they've walked, I mean, we got 4 aisles. If you've walked twice, you think, okay, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
Like, what can I do for you? How can I help you
Yeah,
out?
exactly.
Yeah. Right. Or I'll watch if you stop in front of the coffee set and you're kind of, what are you looking for? Right. Or if they grab something, I mean, I'm no, I mean, I get laughed at a lot because I'll stop. You pick up an, why'd you pick that one? Have you ever tried these ones? Because I'm curious. I just like to see what the hell you're doing. Why'd you do that?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
exactly.
And maybe I know something that you may not. Hey, listen, if you ever tried this, right? Or at that point, maybe you can even give them a little bit of a break on price and say, just try it. Trust me, you'll like this.
Well, yeah, we get calls all the time, like from consumers. I'm looking for something. I'm like, yeah, go here, go here, go here, right? They give them like many options because sometimes you never know who's calling, right? Could be the brand themselves just testing to see.
Let's see what the hell you do.
Yeah, right. And like me, for instance, like I'll go into a store. I'll never say like I'm from Nationwide. Like I don't know why. I just kind of walk incognito, walk the shelves, see what's going on, and then look at what's there, and then my wife will be like, hey, you sell them. I'm like, yeah, I know. We sell it, but that's as far as I go with it, right? I won't go to someone and say, oh, you should face up your shelf. I just, you look, you move on, right?
Yeah.
I just see that when you go to a mass store, stuff could be cluttered, no one's fixing it up.
Yeah.
You go to independent, if it does get cluttered, the store manager or the owner or whoever has a passion for that business will fix it up.
Yeah.
Right? They've got that vision to, make that display look good.
Yeah.
Because that's their lifeline, right? Just like here, the same thing here, right?
No, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, this is great. you know, actually, it's been a while since I actually said who I really am.
I like it. You know what it is, Randy? I think it's important in today's world. I mean, this is
Yeah.
why I think Phil and I really, really enjoy doing the
Yeah.
podcast, and why, and we've had, like we've had Arjun on, you know, Rattan's been on. We've
Yeah.
had a lot of family business. Dominic's been on. Like we've had family business, and because I think it intrigues Phil and I too, because I do like the story. I like to see where this all comes from, and I like the fact that most of you guys are still family run and still part of the community, and you still get it, and you're still trying to support the independence and all the cool shit that our industry is.
It's an
Yeah, like-
interesting mix, right? Like when you lean, even listening to you trying to figure out when to be loyal, when to break away, like how to be family and not be family, how to be business and still be family, like all of those sort of things. I think because I think you see a lot of people who choose not to do it because they can't see the lines, right? Like they don't know where the lines are. So listening to you talk about it, I think is really interesting because, for you are trying to figure it out, right? You're trying to figure out like, when do I
It's a
actually want
generational
to,
thing, right?
when do
Like-
I want to try and kill my dad? And
Or when's my dad
When I
going to kill
want-
me on this
yeah,
one?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
something's
Well,
going to go
I told you,
sideways.
he's my best friend
yeah,
and my worst enemy in the same rest of the time.
Exactly.
yeah, agree.
Right?
But think
Yeah.
about it.
Like
But
straight up.
all those years together, I mean, for example, for the most part, I mean, whether you were indebted to him or not, to your mom and dad, a lot of people just walk, right?
Mhm.
There is sometimes something to be said about the the old school and the old cultures, and it's just part of it. Like you just you still have to do right by the family
Mhm.
to some degree. Now sometimes it's at a detriment too, because to your point, I mean, old school parenting wasn't necessarily the most complimentary and the most encouraging, and wasn't they were a little too snowflakey today. We're probably not great with our kids either, because
No. Well,
you don't need the old school, but there's something to be said sometimes about
Yeah.
not belittling your kids like they did. It was different. My kids came from a different time, but it's pushing your kids to do your damn job.
Yeah.
Life's not all about showing up doesn't count. It counts for something, but really nothing at the end. Finishing something, succeeding in something, like doing it, not just
Oh, no,
showing up
exactly.
and expecting to get a prize. You get no prize for showing. Oh, but I wasn't late this week. Well, good. You shouldn't be late anyway.
Great.
That's right.
I don't know. So what? What do you want, a medal?
Yeah,
Like, who
yeah,
gives a
yeah.
shit?
Yeah.
Right? I don't care, Snowflake. Just I wasn't late. Well, wow. Oh, good for you.
Oh my God. Just, you know what? So my daughter works at Longo's, right? So our local Longo's. And her shift normally starts at 4. She works 4 to 9 part-time. And she'll show up and kind of go, Dad, can you drive me? And it's 3:55. We live 5
Close.
minutes away by drive, right? 5 minutes.
Right.
And it like, so I immediately look at my watch and she says, yeah, it'll be fine. I'll show up right at 4. And like in my brain, like
You're late.
these kids, right? But in
Yeah.
my mind, I'm like, and we've had the conversation. She's like, well, they don't pay me. And I go, it's not about payment, right? And it's not like the business shouldn't ask you to be there 15 minutes early, and you shouldn't expect them to pay you. But this is about ethic, right? Is you should be ready, so you walk in, you
start at
should
4
be ready.
o'clock,
You
ready
start
to
at 4.
work.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
5
Yeah.
minutes early to me is on time. 4
Exactly.
o'clock, you're late.
You're
Because
late.
there's no way that you walk in and walk to the till. You got to go to the back, do your jacket. That's bullshit.
Oh, I
4
agree with
o'clock
you.
is your shift.
Yeah.
4.
But it's
Like,
it's
like,
it's
like, I have 2 daughters, right?
Yeah.
They're now 20 and 17. So my older one. So I made them a deal when I was young, like when they were younger, like, hey, as long as you guys are playing sports, you don't need to get a job, we'll take care of you.
Yeah.
Whatever. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. Just
Yeah.
Play soccer, get to wherever you can get to with it.
Yeah.
So my older one, she was 17, she's trying for U18 team. She basically went like she wasn't really a great soccer player, but she was passionate to play, and she gave everything she had, right? I give her that because I watched, I was her coach. So to watch her do all that, and then at U18 go from club to club to club, try out, not make the team, and she got disheartened. She's like, okay, what do I do now with my time? I'm like, get a job, right? Like you come to Nationwide and work, with me, right?
Here's the
Or-
broom. Same way.
Same way I
go find a
learned,
job
baby.
somewhere else, right? You don't work in the like,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
I give her an option. I'm like, well, she goes, yeah, but you go like 6 a.m. I'm like, oh yeah, well, that's life, right? Get used to it. You're gonna like when you go to university, it's the same thing happen to you.
Yeah.
Just wait, right? I'm like, that's what's gonna happen. It's not gonna be like, oh, you pick your hours or whatever you want at
Exactly.
school. You're gonna get whatever courses are lined up at that time,
Yeah.
right? It's not like high school.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, she got a job at Cineplex, and she would like, she starts at let's say 2:00. And I hear like it's like 1:50ish. Where they live 5 minutes away as well, really close. I'm like, hey, you're still at home? She's like, yeah, I'll be there in 5 minutes. I'm like, you should already be there. She's like, why? I'm like, because it just you never know.
Yeah.
Like something could
It
be an accident.
on the road. It could
Yeah.
be a street light's not working. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then when she lost her job at Cineplex because of COVID, she got a job over at Sports Check out in Tsawwassen Mills.
Right.
There she had to leave early because she couldn't tell how far it's gonna take her to get there. So she really began there 15 minutes early. She can go get her coffee or go get her drink from Starbucks, right? Because you got to have their Starbucks.
It's whatever,
So
right?
now she got her drink in her hand. She's chilling out. She's relaxed. She's not all tense. Come, time to start. Punch in. Away she went. Right. I'm like, see, isn't that better?
Yeah.
Right. And then my younger one, she's still playing soccer. And she's like, what do I do? I'm like, well, same routine for you. Go to school. We'll take care of it. But you got to play sports or get a job. You're not going to sit at home and do nothing.
No.
Right? Because that's when problems start.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Keep them busy.
You got to keep them busy.
Keep them
Got to
busy.
keep them doing something.
Yeah.
Right? And I know with Nationwide, I go, if you don't get a job anywhere else, you can always come here.
Yeah.
I don't want to push it on them, but I would love to have them here. That's my dad wants. He wants a legacy to go on from grandchild to grandchild forever and ever. And that's his dream. Well, these are the two oldest to basically start that, right? So I told him like whenever you guys want, if you guys aren't happy where you are, you're more than welcome to come here.
How cool
This
is
is
that
your
to have
last
the
resort.
option though, right? It's a neat option.
This is the last resort, right? Whether
Well, until it becomes their first resort, right?
Exactly.
Like, so you really want that option open, but the kids today, you need them to choose it, right? Like we're the three of us are roughly from the same generations, right? And
yeah, we are.
Like then it was like, no, somebody signed you up and you just went, right? Like, but we've raised these kids, these kids, like they need to feel they have choices, right? So once they feel it, we're good, right? But
you just got to get them there, right?
Until then,
like my two brothers, they came to the cycle. They're like, this is not for us.
Yeah.
My sister was here for a bit. She's like, it's not for me.
Yeah.
And the only one left is still me.
It's not for everybody. It's not for faint of heart. Like, I mean, we talk about it a lot, obviously, because it's a retail CPG show. It's a tough industry. It really is. It's a grind, right? It's a grind.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of roadblocks built into it. It's a lot of fun. And you can meet a lot of cool people. Like, I think the people in our industry are amazing. I love our industry.
I love it.
But it's a grind.
I really do.
It really is. It's a bitch to work.
But it's because we love it, right? So
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no, definitely. Like I look at it like what I've learned over the years, like from 13, it's like I think in my head it's great to start from the bottom and work your way up. Then you learn so much, right? Like I have guys in the warehouse, like they're like, I can tell when they're working, when they're not working,
right?
And they're like, how do you know? I'm like, listen,
I've
done this job. I know how to run a pallet. I just don't want to do it. I don't need to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Right. That's not where my expertise are. Like I can do other things with my time than go show you how to wrap a skid. That's like, I'll show you once. It's not hard to do. You just tie it and just walk around and just make sure you stretch it to not so it's tight.
But it's not rocket science either, right? Like they're kind of like three places in the warehouse that you could be if you work in the warehouse. If you're not in any one of those three, I'm going to the nap spot or
the water cooler and think, buddy.
Yeah, I know you're there.
Go.
Like, you want to take a 15-minute nap? Totally cool, right? But I hit the three spots. I come back in 15 minutes. You're not at one of the three spots. Guess what? Like, I know where you are. Like,
oh no.
Yeah.
Remember those days taking naps in the warehouse? Well, rough nights. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's all good. Anyway,
Randy,
my friend, that's an hour and a bit. And
thank you for doing this.
Thanks for coming on, buddy. I really
appreciate you guys having me.
No,
I was quite nervous. I won't lie to you guys. I was very nervous to do this.
Really? No.
Coming on. You know what? I had a great time. Thank
No,
you so
you
much.
you,
Oh,
you, you
good.
killed it. I mean, it's just cool, right?
We
I
love
mean,
it. We love this story.
I do. I think it's really
Yeah.
neat. And you've
Yeah.
done a lot. Your family's been in the industry for a long time, and it's good
Yeah.
to see that it's going. And hopefully one of the kids, or maybe the kids' partners or whatever at one time.
You
It'd be
never
nice-
know.
You
Like,
never know. And it'd be
Yeah.
nice that, if the legacy does continue. It's cool.
Yeah.
that's what my dad wants, and that's kind of the focus that I have, right? Because we have been offered, like people come to us,
For
oh,
sure.
you guys want to sell, you guys want to sell. Of course, you know me, I'll take the offer sheet, and he's like, no, I'm
No.
not doing it. I'm not.
No.
He goes, I don't care.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is not for you. It's not for it's for my grandkids. I'm like, okay, that's
Okay, Dad.
that's-
Okay, I get it.
I get it now, right? That's the
Yeah.
vision. Then that's what I got to
Yeah.
uphold.
Yeah.
I'll have to be here forever to do this for your vision, Dad, but that's okay.
I gotta clone myself.
Jesus.
Amazing.
Anyway, buddy boy, you can go
Thank you
start
so
your
much.
day. Thanks for
Yeah.
coming on.
Thanks,
If
guys.
people want to get a hold of you, bud, where do they find you?
Yeah.
Like, where do they find you? And maybe if they want to talk about distribution or what other
Oh,
things?
they can email me, through Randy Sihota at nationwidenaturalfoods.com, or they can call my cell phone anytime, 778-885-0348. I'm available from 6:30 in the morning till like 10:30 at night, to be honest with you.
Okay.
By 10:30, I'm shutting down.
That's it. Eh?
There has to be limits.
I'm going to
There
bed.
must be limits somewhere.
Well, otherwise, or Sue's right behind you with a frying pan ready to beat the hell out of you.
Oh yeah, she gets pretty irritated sometimes. So I'm sitting at the dinner
Yeah.
table and I'm talking on the phone while I'm trying to have dinner.
Yeah, it's not, no shit.
I'll
eh?
bet. Yeah.
Okay,
buddy.
guys, I wish you guys
All
a
right.
happy New Year.
Thanks,
Thank
Randy.
you. Happy
Best
New
in
Year to you, buddy.
2023.
Thanks. You as
Yeah.
well. You as well.
Let's try to
Take
be
care
on
of
face to
yourself.
face one of these days.
Hey, you know where I'm at. Come down to the hood.
All right, we'll
We
do.
love it.
Take care,
Love
buddy
it.
boy.
Okay.
Chat soon.
Take care,
Ciao.
Randy.
Yeah, for sure.
Bye.
Phil, hang on.
Yeah. Oh, what a gem.
It's like listening to.
Yeah.
It's sometimes like listening to the way Danny Ferrero. They're like little kids and they're just in warehouses and doing. Oh, I love it.
I love it.
Oh my god! I mean, all the
But-
new
but
parents are
that
probably
is-
mortified, but I mean, I just think it's.
But that is retail, right? Like
Buddy,
if
it's
you
what it
don't
is.
if you don't love that, you shouldn't be in retail.
Yeah, it's
Like-
it's a tough gig.
Like all of it, right? Like
It's
even
a
I
tough
remember like the first time, like, because I've been around retail, but when we were doing the stores at Target, like bunch of Saturday and Sunday mornings, right? You're on phone calls with store managers going, listen, like, what's the problem? Like, what are we solving for today? Right. Like, and I remember like my CPG buddies going, wow, that's BS. And I'm like, no, it's not, because for everybody else, if you're a brand, like, especially if you're a brand, like you're done by Friday, right? Because you shipped it, it's gone.
Yeah,
Like,
but
what do you
retail's
need to
open
worry
7
about,
days a
right?
week.
But retail, like you'd have store staff that are answering questions all weekend long.
Exactly.
If they
It
don't
doesn't
have the
stop.
right answer, what do you think's going to happen, right? Like it's just the way it is, right? But it isn't for everyone. It's
No, it's
definitely
not.
for
It's
everybody.
definitely not for everybody.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely not for everybody.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
That was
Anyway.
cool. It's good.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody.